Hello and welcome to my channel, Tall Talks from a Short Lady. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can summarize different reading passages irrespective of the length with the help of graphic organizers. Now, in the first slide, I would like to talk about why we need to summarize. Now, most students, once they leave school, they are under the impression that they have seen the last of their summarization days and they will not need to summarize anymore. But I have news for you. An average professional spends about 2 hours per day reading, and most of this reading is in the form of emails. And if you're spending, say, approximately 2 hours per day, which comes to about 25% of your entire workday. Hence, summarization is perhaps the most important skill both for students and for professionals alike. So, what do I mean when we talk about summarization? What exactly do we do in summarization? Now, we sift through a large quantities of reading material. We identify the key areas, ignore the irrelevant material, and we just cut down things or pare down things to the bare minimum. This is the essence of summarization. Now, there are different styles of summarization available to us. We have outlines, abstracts, synopses, précis. Now, these are mostly synonymous with hardly much difference, from one to the other. Then we have a point form summaries. We have a one sentence summary. We can even have a one word summary, and then we have graphic organizers. So, to take an example, the entire Bhagavad Gita can be summarized in one sentence. So, it depends on your requirement. What is the length of your summary? So, unlike what we have been taught in school, like a précis should be about 1/5 or 1/6 the size of a passage, it really does not make sense to have such definite restrictions because at the end of the day, you're the person who's summarizing, and you're free to decide what kind of length or what kind of style or tool you're going to be used for your summarization purpose. Okay, now if you ask me personally, I feel that the best style for summarization is the graphic organizer, and I'm going to tell you why. But first, I'm going to be talking about what are graphic organizers. Now, graphic organizers are simply visual tools. They help us convert all the information that we are reading, or for that matter, all the thoughts we have in our head, into the form of pictures or images. Now, this is done first by segregating and then arranging the information. To take the example of a person who has a mango grove, he has, mangoes of different varieties. So when the season for harvesting mangoes comes, first he will segregate the mangoes according to the different varieties, and then he will arrange them in different sizes, some small to medium to large. And this is exactly what we're doing in any kind of graphic organizer too. And once you have segregated and arranged the information, then we go about, establishing relationships between facts in the passage or the concepts given in the passage. Now, there are many benefits of using the graphic organizer. The first one is it encourages you to be a more logical person. So, you're going to be using graphic organizers everywhere. If you are into chemical engineering, you're going to be talking about, batch processes, things like that. If you are into computer engineering, when you're coding and programming, you will be talking about, arranging data in arrays. You'll be talking about branching, so many different things. So all of them are actually the functions of graphic organizers. So it helps you to organize and structure information, and it helps you to compress information drastically. Just in the previous slide, I spoke about how the entire Bhagavad Gita can be, summarized or converted into a graphic organizer. So, the information can be drastically compressed. Next one, obviously, if you are looking at a smaller amount of information, it is easier to comprehend it. And a picture is any day's worth 1,000 words. And if it is easier to understand, then it's easier to memorize. And obviously, it is also easier to retain that information and retrieve it when the need comes. So there are different kinds of students, and there are different ways people prepare before the exams. But the ones who read a complete chapter and convert it into a graphic organizer, they're the ones who end up scoring more and saving time, because just before entering the exam hall, they just quickly glance through the graphic organizer of each chapter that is there in the portion. Moving on, I'm going to be talking about 8 different types of graphic organizers. So to start with the first one, I'm going to be talking about the Venn diagram. Now, we use the Venn diagram when we want to compare or contrast 2 different concepts or ideas. Now, mind it, we can use the Venn diagram only when the comparison is limited to 2 different items, concepts, or ideas. So here is an example. We can compare the dog to the cat in terms of their behavior. Now, they have differences in their behavior, but they also have a lot of similarities in their characteristics. Okay, so this is just a fun example of a Venn diagram. You can take the example of, say, the aerated drink of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So these two are, again, cola drinks, aerated drinks. They have a lot of similarities, but they also have certain, distinctions or differences. Moving on to the next one I'm going to be talking about is the cyclic diagram. Now, cyclic diagrams are used to organize a repeating series of events or actions. So, there are so many things in our life. Everything actually follows the cyclic pattern, the day and night, the seasons, our respiratory system, the circulatory system, the Krebs cycle, the water chain, the food chain. All of these are actually fantastic examples of cyclic diagrams. Now, understanding the cyclic diagram is pretty simple because the concept is simple, but the trick is when you read a passage, you should be able to identify whether the information can be compressed using a cyclic diagram or some other kind of a diagram. So when we are talking about the cyclic diagram, you have to notice that the events given start at a certain point and they complete one full revolution or one full loop and come back and end at the same point. So this is basically what cyclic diagrams are. Moving on to the next one, this is the flow chart. Now, here is an example of the flow chart. I have shown how grapes are harvested, then the stalks are removed, how the grapes are crushed, then sulfur is added, then the fermentation process takes place. So basically, flowcharts are used to depict how a process is performed in definitive steps right from the start to the finish. Now, what is to be noted here in a flowchart is that the start point and end point are discrete and do not converge like in a cyclic diagram. So if you look at this picture here, the bottling, the arrow, ends here, and it is very different from the starting arrow. So there is no converging. It is not like the cyclic diagram. Next thing about flowchart is that it is open-ended. That means, you can continue adding steps to the entire process. For example, this image ends at the bottling, but I can take it one step further where I'm talking about how the labels are pasted onto it. And I can take one step further and show how, the bottles are fitted in with the cork. So basically, flowcharts are open-ended. Next, I'm going to be talking about the tree diagram. Now, here is an example of a tree diagram, and the family tree is the best example of how we can use a tree diagram, but that is just one example. If you talk about any organization, an organization has different layers, different hierarchy. So to explain that also, we can use something like a tree diagram. Now, a tree diagram is used to represent hierarchy in a tree-like structure. Okay, so the hierarchy is most important. So I want to point out here, see here, it shows 3 levels of hierarchy. That is me in the first generation, my parents in the second generation, and my grandparents in the third generation. So each of these generations are representative of a layer or a hierarchy, and it shows who is higher above the other. Okay, now the next thing is that tree diagrams are unidirectional. That means they proceed only in one direction. And the direction can be either, say from the bottom upwards. It can also start from top to down. It can move from the center to the left hand side, or it can move from the center to the right hand side. Okay, now there is a limitation of tree diagrams, and that is that it uses only 180-degree angle in the entire space that you have to represent. So you can start moving down and you can use any angle which is 180-degree from top to bottom, but once you've started moving down, there is no way you can branch out and move upwards. So this is the limitation of a tree diagram. Moving on to timelines. Now, timelines are very simple to understand. They are used mostly to represent a continuum, that is continuous, a flow of data or specific events. But the trick is that they are arranged chronologically. That means, in the right order, in the way they happened in terms of time. And usually a timeline comes with the dates. Okay, this is very important. To take the example that I have put here on the screen, it shows how Walt Disney changed their logos over the years. And they started with this logo, this one on the left-hand side, in 1937. And over the years, they made certain changes. And what we have today is this. This is the latest logo that Disney uses. Okay, moving on to the matrix or the grid. Now, a matrix is used to compare multiple items using the same criteria. Okay, so let me explain this matrix that you have. So a matrix is nothing but an arrangement of cells. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, six columns, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So this is a 6x6 matrix. And what are they using this matrix for? They're using it to compare the different search engines like Google, Bing, Baidu, etc. And they're comparing these different search engines on various aspects or criteria. So these aspects are fixed. So this is how a matrix is used. Now, a matrix has an edge over the Venn diagram. Both of them have similar purposes because they're comparing and contrasting. But the matrix can incorporate more number of items and more number of factors of comparison as compared to the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram can compare only 2 items at a time. So moving on to the next one, this is the radial diagram. Now, a radial diagram is used to demonstrate how discrete items are linked to a central concept. So if you look at this radial diagram, at the center, we have the concept of health, but there are different things, food and spiritual condition are not related to each other. They are discrete points, but both of them are related to the central concept of how we stay healthy. So that is exactly what I mean, that the radial diagram is used to demonstrate, items that are linked to a central idea. Okay, now the best part about the radial diagram is that it allows you to move out in all directions. That means it's using the entire scape available to you. It allows you to have a 360-degree run. You can branch out towards the north, you can branch out towards south, towards east, west, and you have the entire scape for you. Now, this is where the radial diagram is superior to the tree diagram. The tree diagram has only 180-degree as its workspace, whereas the radial diagram has double of that, which is 360-degree. Now, you might be thinking then, why do we use a tree diagram if the radial diagram is superior? Now, the thing is, in a radial diagram, it is difficult to maintain the hierarchy. Whereas if you remember in a tree diagram, the hierarchy levels are very clear cut and easier for us to see and understand. So in places where the passage, needs definitive hierarchy, you must use a tree diagram, but where the hierarchy is less important and there are more concepts that you need to link to the central idea, you should go for the radial diagram. Now, as I have already said, that it has an advantage. It can accommodate more number of nodes as compared to the tree diagram. But like to repeat myself, it has a less, emphasis on the hierarchy or different levels. Okay, moving on to the last type of graphic organizer, I'm going to be talking about the pyramid. Now, the pyramid is very simple. It is used to illustrate a hierarchy. So, in a way, a pyramid is very simple to a tree diagram, but you will remember that the tree diagram can come from, top to down, down to up, but in a pyramid, the information always builds up bottom upwards. Okay, now it allows you to segregate data just like the tree diagram into different layers, but it is unidirectional. That means in a pyramid, you're allowed only to build upwards. And a pyramid is generally used when you want to represent data which, culminate into some sort of a pinnacle, culminate into some sort of a, say, a climax. So to take the example, and there is no returning back from there. So to take the example of, say, how a volcano erupts. So it starts with something, as mundane as the tectonic plates colliding and, the vault occurring in the Earth's crust and how, the magma forces up. So it actually, the culmination of a volcano is when the plug is forced out and, the lava just flows out from the top. So basically, these are the different types of graphic organizers. They can accommodate any kind of reading text that you have with you. Now, there can be other graphic organizers, for example, a T table. A T table looks exactly like a T, and it allows you to compare two things, for example, advantages and disadvantages. But if you go to see, a T diagram is actually a matrix where you have two by maybe 6 rows, 2 columns by 6 rows. So ultimately, you might be using different names, but all the different type of graphic organizers you'll be using will be accommodated within these 8 that I've spoken about. That is all from my side. For other topics, you can please refer to the description box underneath this video. And I would like to mention that in the next video that I'm going to upload, I'm going to be taking you through 8 different reading passages to demonstrate how you can master the graphic organizer. And with that, I will say thank you.